Hello, guys. How y'all doing? Whew. I am super duper duper excited to be on here. Hey Instagram, hey Facebook. I am so excited. Y'all please share my live. I want us to weigh in on this conversation tonight. I'm somewhat nervous. Although I'm prepared, I'm somewhat nervous. Oh, hello from San Diego. Look at San Diego on Instagram. Hello. So I'm gonna give some people a couple minutes to kind of jump on. I hate how sometimes with Facebook I can't see y'all who's on with me. But I see there's 3 people on, people getting added, so whatever. So anyhow, I am super excited. Y'all know I never really do lives during the week. Hey Shauna, I never really do lives during the week, but tonight is a special night. So tonight is a special night. And so anyway, I wanted to hop on and hey Angie Beans, I wanted to hop on and do a live tonight. Something special, something different. I've been contemplating on, if you have been following my page, you know that I'm writing about intimacy. Again, if you're on Facebook, Instagram, please share my live. I want as many people to be a part of this conversation. But typically I haven't had people really be a part of it. And so anyway, if you've been following me, you know that I've been writing this blog. It's entitled Intimacy, and it is one of the most viewed blogs that I have written since I've been writing. So, and I've written several blogs, which some people may not realize, but I've actually written several blogs on different topics and just different things. And so, but this one has been really, really near and dear to my heart. I've gotten so many comments, so many conversations have been had around intimacy. So many people, hey Callie, so many people have really gotten to start having conversation around intimacy and just the idea of it and kind of how it all came to be. And so I really struggled for a while, to be honest with you guys, to publicly talk about intimacy. And I really don't struggle to talk about much in life, but that's one of those ones that I've struggled in. And yes, y'all just got to feel some kind of way about this grandma shirt. But anyway, I really did struggle with talking live about it, but I knew that it was time, that it was the season to finally have the conversation and open it up. And so typically on Tuesdays, I either drop, last month I dropped all of the writing of intimacy once a week. And this month I've been dropping the podcast recordings. And so I started doing the podcast recordings of intimacy because I wanted people to feel my heart, and I wanted them to feel the intensity in the way that I wrote it, because it is very intense. Intimacy is just a very intense thing. And so as God has been dealing with me about intimacy, and God has been dealing with me about really being intentional with my connections, intimacy was birthed from me being intentional with my connections and really paying attention and really following my heart on things and really getting to know, taking my time to really know people. And so that's really where intimacy came for me. I wanted to really be intentional with my relationships, but really respect people enough to, hey Winona, y'all share my live. I really wanted people to be intentional with the way they connected with people. I didn't want them to just keep connecting and hooking up and not, hey Jocelyn, and not really being intentional with why they were connecting to others. And so God had really been dealing with me about me being purposely connected and purposely designed and assigned to people, and knowing and respecting people enough to truly get to know them intimately. And so that's where intimacy really came from for me. And so tonight, I am still going to release a podcast reading of week 3, because we're on week 3 of my writing. And so I do read it every week. And so I will be releasing a podcast reading of week 3 for some of my podcasters who like to listen to me online. Hey, Munson. So I will be releasing that. So don't worry, you'll get to hear me. You get to hear my heart. But also, I wanted tonight to be a really open discussion. And so I wanted to invite you guys into my intimate space and intimately get to join me. So I've got Instagram going. I've got Facebook going, because I want us to really have a conversation tonight and really begin to break the yoke and break the generational curses that have been on our families surrounding intimacy and surrounding us just leaping into sex, and us not really taking our time to fully be appreciative of God's creation. And so I wanted to have that conversation tonight. And I think I'm at a season and at a place and at a level of maturity and really just knowledge and studying where I feel like I'm ready to have the big talk. Hey cousin, have the big talk. Hi, Jennifer Jackson. Y'all, please share my live. I want as many people to see it as possible, because I really want this to be one of the biggest videos that go out and really get people to start talking about intimacy, and really get people to start talking about the power of it, and also sex, and really help us as a people to break the generational curse that a lot of it plagues our families, especially African American families, are very much so plagues with us just jumping into things, and us not really having a full approach, a full knowledge of who we're attaching ourselves to. So I'm going to give you my quick kind of run through it. And if you want to jump in and share something, please hit the add button. I'll add you into the conversation, whether you're on Instagram or Facebook, because I do feel like we all can learn and hear from each other. And the only way to grow is to listen, is to get other people's perspective, and to share the knowledge. And so for me, as I've been walking through the pathways of intimacy and doing the slow motion and the slow dance of intimacy, I have really learned how to solely, and when I say solely, I mean like SOUL, solely, just add the Y to it. I don't know if that's spelled right or not, but solely connect with people. And I prayed and told God that I wanted in this season to really spend my time not just connecting to people just for the sake of saying, oh, you've got friends or you just know this person, but really spending my time connecting to people that when we came together, or when our relationship joined together, or our friendship, or what have you, whatever capacity that looks like, that it reproduced something in the nation that was productive. Because a lot of times what we do is we connect ourselves to people and it's not really productive. And so intimacy is one of those things that is not one of those things that you quickly rush into. It's truly one of those slow, methodical dances that you do with the person as you get to learn where they've come from, where you get to learn where they are today, where you get to learn where they're headed. And you really get to learn, am I properly positioned in this person's life? I do believe that a lot of our marriages could be more productive and more healthy, which would create healthier families, which would create healthier communities if we were intentional in our coming together. And a lot of our family trees, the reason that we see so much confusion and breakdown, and there's so many generational curses and things that are passed down, is because nobody is having the conversation of intimacy, and nobody's having the conversation of brokenness and wholeness and knowing the difference between the two. And so tonight we're going to open up that conversation, and I'm going to get to hear from you guys and really, really, really hear your hearts on it and weigh in and share. And so I want to start off. Callie, I saw you join. I'm going to try to add you in. Let's see here. Callie, can you request to get added in for us to talk about your views on intimacy and what it means to you? because I'm not seeing on here where I can just add you. I see where I can comment, turn my light on, flip my camera, but I want to add you to the conversation. So can you request to, let's see here, request to be added so we can talk about it? Okay, I see you on Instagram, so we're gonna run it on Instagram. I'm ready. I'm here for it. Let's see here. So this is what I'm wanting to do. This is all talk. So we'll have like this big open discussion about intimacy. So hopefully you guys, if you are on Instagram, you'll see Callie there and be able to listen. And I'll kind of pull her a little closer. This is Callie, all on my Instagram. Hey, sis. Hey. Hi.
I was trying to hop on Facebook, but it was, I don't know, it was acting crazy, so.
Okay. I like one off on my, what you call it? Okay, go ahead. So we're talking about intimacy, and we're talking about the power of it, and kind of our difference between what you feel like is the difference between sex and intimacy.
So for me, I feel like sex is more of like just an act, and intimacy is something that's a little bit, it just grows deeper. There's a deeper connection there.
Okay.
With intimacy, here's the thing. A man can have sex with whoever.
Correct.
But you can only be intimate. Intimacy involves a level of trust.
Yes, I agree.
And sharing your deepest, desires, your goals, your dreams, all of that is a part of being intimate.
Okay.
And, people can have an emotional affair. They
Yeah.
may not ever have sex with that person.
Yeah.
But they're very intimate with that person. They share everything. And that can lead to sex.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's just my definition.
Yeah, no, I'm completely here for it. So we're talking about it also on Facebook Live as well. Hey, Casey, we're talking about it as well on Facebook Live and about intimacy. And guys, drop your comments, drop your questions. If you want to join in on the conversation, I'm still learning like how to add y'all. So just try to get added in because I really want to talk about it. And I feel like our generation, it's time to talk about us going deeper in the things of God and us really getting to enjoy the true fruits of people because, in us is God's gift. And I think a lot of times we miss out on God's gift that he's given us in people because we won't intimately get to know them. We spend more of our times wanting to possess them than we do wanting to actually get to know them. And so we miss out on the gift and we mishandle the blessing because we're unable to get through the process of intimately knowing somebody.
And intimacy also involves, like I said, a level of trust and being open and vulnerability.
Yes.
That's all wrapped in being intimate. And so I know especially African American people, we're so like, don't show your emotion.
Correct.
Don't let anybody get too close to you.
Correct.
All of that. But really, you can never truly be intimate with someone if you have that wall up constantly. So you never really tap into the blessing that God has in that other person.
Correct.
Because you're not willing to submit and be intimate.
I definitely agree with that. And I feel like intimacy requires people to become their most uncomfortable, vulnerable self. And I'll say in this season, one of the things that I do regret, even when I think about past relationships for myself, is that I can honestly say I never experienced intimacy. And so I experienced a form of it, but I never experienced the actual art of it. I wasn't taught it. And so I hadn't really seen it. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like, people are just walking around talking about intimacy. You know what I'm saying? I didn't experience it. And so sometimes people think that intimacy is sex, but intimacy is not sex. Intimacy is a process that at some point leads to it. Because sex is still a benefit that God did design for us to have, but in the appropriate season, because God is all about timing. And so sometimes for us, we time it wrong. And most times when we time it wrong and we try to make it right, it just don't never turn back right. You know what I'm saying?
We try to have the sex before the intimacy.
Correct. And the issue, and the biggest issue with that is that when we try to just to me, just having sex with someone is equivalent to just you wanting to possess them. And I think that in our culture, especially the African American culture, we have been designed and almost taught possession. Like, let's possess, like we have not been taught the art of maintaining. So we know how to, that's why you see people all the time talk about they trying to go after the bag. They trying to get the bag, People are constantly wanting to talk about obtaining, but not maintaining.
Right.
And I think that that's a cultural thing for us. And you look back even at slavery for African Americans. If you look at slavery, the power was in the possession of how many slaves you had. But it wasn't in the power of maintaining, because just like they got slaves, they sold slaves. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't a situation where we were actually able to learn the art of maintaining. We learned the art of just disposing people. 1 minute we with you and 1 minute we ain't. 1 minute we with you and 1 minute we ain't. I'm done with you. I'm gone. Bye. We on that K Michelle tip. I need another one to get over the other one. And the truth of the matter is, because we've been conditioned to that in our lineage, a lot of us have not been taught intimacy, and we have a lot of brokenness. So we mask it in sex.
Right. But see, that's what I was going to ask you. So at what point does it go from being a generational thing to being a personal thing, where that person needs to be more self-aware about how they're approaching intimacy and sex?
I think it has everything to do with healing and wholeness, because whenever you are whole people are not desperate people. First of all, whole people are not desperate people. They're not quick to just jump, because they've had to work so hard to maintain who they are. And so it has everything to do with where a person is in their life at that moment. So if you are not at a place of wholeness and you're still at a place where you're trying to fulfill a void, you're going to rush into something very, very prematurely. And then when you get there, you're like, why am I here again? Like, I should have never did this, like, wait a minute. Like, wow, I should have thought this through. I didn't think this through very well. And so we find ourselves at that point being a part of something that really does not fit in with our purpose. And I do believe that everything goes back to purpose. Everything goes back to purpose. And so, if we don't know what our purpose is, then how can we properly align people in our lives?
Yep. That's true.
To know if they're good or not.
People, like we talked about, I think on another live I did with you, two broken people get married and then they're trying to fulfill each other's purpose.
Correct.
But they're not whole themselves.
Correct.
So,
and
even when people get married, a lot of people get married for sex. Oh, the sex is good, so
correct.
Get married.
Yeah. Exactly. And then you don't make it, because that's all they had. And now you trying to figure out what else they got. They don't have anything else. But you would have known that had you intimately got to know that person.
Exactly. Yes. That was
Hey,
one thing with
Latoya.
me and my husband. Like, I think we talked about this before.
Mm-hmm.
He really wanted to get to know me.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like, oh, I just want to have sex with you and try to get there with you.
Let me know
I
you.
want to know you.
Correct.
I want to know who you are, what you like, what you don't like. Really be intimate with me on another level, not just a sexual level.
Because I describe sex as this. Sex to me is a part of a broken cycle. Right? So if you think about cycles are often programmed scenarios that never change. And so you're never really you never really hit fulfillment because you're in a program cycle that never changes. It's like the washing machine. Like your washing machine has set cycles. It's not going to change. You can change the cycle from hot to cold, but whatever it's programmed to do, it's all that it's going to do. So you can't expect it to do more because it's only programmed to do that one thing. It's not multifaceted. And so that's how I feel sex is. Intimacy is one of those things that sustain you in and out of seasons. And so in relationships and in marriages and in the cultivation process, you have to have intimacy because waves and trials and moments are going to come. So what is it that I know about you intimately that lets me know you're going to be able to ride the wave?
Yeah.
Because vulnerability is a roller coaster.
Right. One thing, my husband and I had marriage counseling with my dad, and one thing my dad
Hey,
and my
Jeremy.
mom had like 40-some years.
Yeah.
And my dad told us, listen, the sex gonna get old.
That part.
You're gonna be tired. You're gonna be on feel like it.
Correct.
You're gonna get old. She gonna get old. You ain't gonna look the same like you used to. But at the end of the day, what are you gonna have to connect you guys in the long run?
Correct.
What things can't be it. So like it has to be intimacy. Because to me, intimacy goes deeper. It's deeper than sex.
Correct.
It's just like you said. What's gonna hold us together through the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows.
Yeah. And so, oh, Natoya, that's my friend Callie. That's on the phone. That's on Instagram Live with me. Guys, if y'all can help me figure out how to join somebody in on Facebook Live, I would so appreciate it. And
They have to request. They have to send a request.
Can y'all please send me a request if you want to hop on to this conversation and let's kind of run it. But on Facebook Live, because I definitely want to do that. But I definitely agree with you there. I feel like for us, we have made a quick hookup so attractive that we're distracted by God's design of what we were supposed to do when we came together. And so because we've made the distraction an attraction, we oftentimes miss the proper design. So then we think, well, this is a waste of time. And it's not that it's a waste. Correct. We make the distraction an attraction. And at that point, we find it being a situation where it goes back to sex. It goes back to it being a vibe and a wave. I don't want a vibe because then that means just as quick as you came, you can go. It's like a wave. Waves come in rushing hard. And guess what? A wave can hit you. And when it hits you, you can flip. But then the time that it take you to get up, that wave already gone. Another one coming. Another one coming. It ain't even the same one. And Natalia on Facebook said, media makes sex and being a side piece so attractive. I agree. It makes having, you being a community person, it makes that look cute. You for everybody. You become a community person. If you're a community person, I need to better write you off on my taxes because you are a nonprofit. You for everybody. I need to write you off on my taxes because you for everybody. And if you're for everybody, then who are you to your body? To your somebody, to yourself. And intimacy starts with you intimately knowing yourself. I can't be my most uncomfortable self with someone if I'm not my most uncomfortable self with myself first.
Right.
And so I've got to get okay with hearing my uncomfortable truth before sharing it with someone else. You know, I've got to get okay with hearing my story and repeating it and saying it and getting it into my bloodstream and understanding who I am, so that way I can walk in truth. And I can walk in love, and I can walk in vulnerability, because this is the thing. People can't love who you pretend to be. It'll only be there temporarily, and then they're going to go, because intimacy is supposed to be a thing that sustains and maintains a relationship. You know, so I definitely feel like, you know, my calling is to marriages, and it is to people, and it is to men, especially our Black men. I feel like our Black men, they are so underserved by us. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that some of us are broken. Some of us got a lot of brokenness in our genealogy and our family trees. And the other part is because most women are not focusing on connecting to the intimate parts of themselves that will activate the God in them. And so they're unable to speak to the King in him because they haven't activated the God in themselves. And
because
so
that brokenness is glorified in
correct.
the world. Yeah, that's the woman being a broken woman is glorified.
Correct.
More so than a woman that's whole. A woman that's whole is not as glorified in the media.
And I think that it's
they love the city girl. The city girl is
correct. Correct, right? I mean, write city girl off on your taxes. But I feel like also it goes back to the conversation of which one is worse, a absentee father or a broken mother. Because men learn how to love from women, and women learn how to love from men. So what is your father telling you about love, and what is your mother teaching you about love? Because whatever that is what you're going to reproduce, because we are a species that is designed for reproduction.
Right.
And so if we're not being properly taught and properly fed at home by the people that are the first people to teach us love and discipline and respect, then how can we expect to have a community that has those types of morals and character?
That's why I was saying at one point, you know, if you have a broken mom and a broken mother and a broken father, and you grow up in a broken home, basically, where intimacy is not there, where do you learn intimacy from?
Where do you learn it? And why aren't we talking about it? Why aren't we? Why isn't Loving You in Slow Motion a more popular song? There's literally a song that's called Love You in Slow Motion, and she talks about loving someone, taking our time, you know, put away the pressure on my mind, really get to know me, but rewind. I want to love you in slow motion. And she says, I want to be your friend before you call yourself my man, because this is the understanding of intimacy. If I don't love you as a friend, I won't like you as a husband. If I don't love you as a friend, I won't like you as a wife. And so, it's so important to me that we begin as our generation to start having these conversations. We continue to complain about young people killing each other, and we continue to complain about our communities not changing and us not seeing growth. And, you know, the mayor ain't doing enough and all this other stupid stuff. Let's start with you healing those generational curses in your family. Because if we start there, then we're not going to be concerned about if the mayor is voting for the bond program and all this other stupid. Like, we're not going to be worried about that kind of stuff, because wholeness breeds happiness and joy. There's not going to be so much brutality amongst our kids. You know, our children aren't going to be committing suicide if they're feeling love and validated at home. But then that also means I can't give love and validation if I don't have it.
Right.
So we got to start somewhere with having the uncomfortable conversations about where did we misplace it? Because it's not that we can't get it back, and it's not that we can't get it. It's just that we're not talking about it, and we're not making it sexy and attractive. and that's why even with intimacy, if you notice, and for some of you who've been reading my blog, all of the pictures are extremely provocative. Like the first week one of the girl in the bathtub with her back turned, I don't know how many messages I got asking, was that me in the tub? Like people were like, girl, like, is that you? Even my own mama thought that was me. She was like, is that you? See, like, but guess what? It made people, this is what I understand. This is what I understand about marketing and people. Sex sells, but intimacy maintains. So I understood that if I put a provocative picture up, if Jocelyn put up a provocative picture, which I'm very glad that she did, I understood that it would make people go and read and really want to learn and see more about what I was talking about. It would at least capture their attention. And so if you've ever read Intimacy, you'll read it and see that it has absolutely nothing to do with sex. There's not one, it's not one iota, a line in there that has anything to do with intercourse. So, and so I wanted it that way. I'm sorry, Instagram. I don't know what happened. I just lost signal on Instagram, so I'm sorry. But it had nothing to do with it. But the reason I love the way Jocelyn did it, and she did it without me even really having to say anything. But the reason that your live froze, Callie. Okay. But the reason that I had her do it that way was because I wanted people to want to get brought into intimacy. And when I tell you, I've had so many people comment and want to know about it and talk about it. It's been amazing. So, Andy, I just added you to the conversation. Munson, you're up next. So I'm gonna need you to figure out on this Facebook Live how we gonna add you. Cause I don't know. So be ready, Munson. Hey, Andy.
Hey, ma'am.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm here to defend the brothers.
Yes. Well, not defend, but not defend. Hopefully, shed some light.
On behalf of the brothers.
Yes. Thank you.
On the band, not to defend, because there was nothing that was said that was, informatory, but there are some myths that need to be, addressed.
Yes.
And I think, first of all, let me, say thank you for bringing this subject to light, because people definitely need to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that's been addressed in the church, right?
Correct.
So you have to take the platform and just, give it to us.
Okay, Callie.
The first thing I want to say is, again, speaking on intimacy and, art and sex, if they're the same thing, it poses a question. I heard you talk about, people being broken and not being able to understand if they're whole themselves. But I want to deal with one particular person who causes a lot of concern,
Mm-hmm.
for me, and that is the alpha female.
Mm-hmm.
All right? The alpha female in the relationship, or whether in marriage or whatever case may be, sometimes put men in a position where they feel like they're competing
Mm-hmm.
for, right?
Yeah.
I do a lot of relationship counseling, and a lot of time men come and say, well, I feel like, she's expecting something of me that I cannot give,
Mm-hmm.
but I love her, and I want to, be there for her and stuff like that, but her expectations are high. So my question to you, as a woman,
Mm-hmm.
is, when is there a time where a woman is able to not lower her standards at all, but to be realistic about who she's with and their capabilities? How does a man understand when a woman is being unrealistic in their expectations because they're women? Women have this thing, because I tell them all the time, if you go back to Genesis chapter 2,
Mm-hmm.
when put Adam to sleep, and this is going to bless you because of your ministry, when he put Adam to sleep concerning his purpose and making his rib,
Mm-hmm.
you never saw where God woke him back up.
So the last part. So the last part.
You never read in the Bible again where God woke him back up.
Uh-huh.
Because he did.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't God who woke him back up. It was Eve. which was his purpose, right?
Yeah.
So speaking from a woman's point of view, to say that she's able to speak to the king in him and wake up the king in him, what happens when she begins to kill the king?
Well, I will say this. I'll be very honest with you. I'm absolutely every bit of an alpha female. And I'm very proud of that. But I'm also an alpha female that has the ability to submit. So, and that comes with maturity and wholeness, and also knowing purpose. An alpha female will always submit to a man that she trusts. And so it goes back to the first thing I said when I said, that, what was it that I said first, about trust? I released a quote a couple of weeks back that says relationships move at the speed of trust. And it has everything to do with that. A person that is whole is not desperate, which is why they don't mind waiting in the waiting process. And so a lot of times when you see a situation where, and because I was at one point a broken alpha female as well, so I can speak from both perspectives, but I can honestly tell you the reason that I was the way that I was because I did not trust. And a person has to trust you, and they also have to be able to be their most uncomfortable self with you, which also means you have to create an environment for transparency from a male and a female's perspective. But see, when you are purposely aligned and you know your purpose, the first issue you won't have is being able to speak to the king in that person, because the reason we have problems with speaking to the king in that person is because we don't know our own purpose. So we are hiring people that we don't even know if they can do the job or not. Right? You could have a doctorate, Andy, but if you have a doctorate, that means you probably should be teaching or being a medical doctor or something else. But if you come and apply for my job and I don't know my purpose, and the truth is, if I really got down to it, I'm really just a McDonald's franchise. Well, you don't need no doctorate for that, Andy. You know what I'm saying? I may need you to be consistent in them fries. You see what I'm saying? But you don't know nothing about being consistent in fries. You have a doctorate in business. You know about running a business, maintaining a business. So properly aligning people in our lives has everything to do with expectations. And so that's why I always say the most influential woman in a man's life is a woman that can speak to his purpose. But then that means I had to intimately take time to get to know who you were, and to also figure out if you and I together can complement each other in purpose. But a lot of times we don't get together for purpose. And that's the first problem, because purpose has everything to do with God. He says, how can two walk together unless they be in agree? And he talks to us about being equally yoked. So that has everything to do with purpose. But when we put sex above purpose, then they in your office trying to figure out why we here. She ain't talking to the king and me. Well, first of all, you got somebody who has a doctorate, and you want them to work the cashier line. That's not fulfilling to them. You see what I'm saying? Call me when you got a general manager position open at your job.
And it's going to create frustration in the relationship.
Every time.
I think what society has done, and I personally had to revisit the alpha female role, and only because when I first heard about it, I was unfulfilled.
Correct.
And I was attracting my unfulfillment. You understand what I'm saying?
Choosing in broken seasons.
I was in a broken season.
There you go.
A blinded season, because my daddy told me that everything glitter ain't gold, but everything dull ain't bad.
Correct.
Right? So which means there are times where you meet people and they only need a little polishing. They need somebody to speak into their purpose, right? And it's kind of hard to even deal with purpose, dealing with women, without talking about worship. You understand? Because I think society has even downplayed God's original plan for the woman. She is God's gift to the earth. Right? I believe she's God's gift to the man. And in her, once it's created and once it's elevated, she will be able to create future avenues for her husband or for her mate, because there are some things, I'm a man, a whole man, and there are some things that I just don't think about that a woman has to pull out of me from this particular point, right? So the complementary side says I'm not going to be intimidated by what God has created to, assist me or to help, grow me. But also she understands that even in my weakness or even at my frailty, I still am a head.
Correct.
You understand? So you're not going to belittle my headship because of a mistake. And that's why divorce is so prevalent in the church. They're being belittled because of mistakes, and they're not reaffirming the original intent for a relationship.
And the original intent for relationships was to reproduce something in the earth that brought about change. But see, that's not why we get together. We get together because you cute and I'm fine and that sound good. But we're not getting together because of purpose. For me, people ask me, Lauren, when you gonna start dating? Why are you not? Or when are you gonna get married again? Or are you gonna get married again? Absolutely, because I have something to reproduce in the earth that I can't reproduce just by myself. It's gonna take me being properly aligned. However, I can't just align myself with anybody. And being that I'm whole, I ain't desperate. So because of that, I know what I'm looking for. I know exactly what job I have. I know exactly what positions I need that are open, and I know exactly what the requirements are for those positions. And so because I know that, I'm not just going to hop into know anything. And I think that submission goes both ways. Submission is sexiest when it's done on both parts. But people don't want to get to that part, because then that's a level of vulnerability that we don't like to talk about.
Yeah. And most men, speaking from a man's point of view, you're going to have two type of men that approach you, even in dating. You're going to have the man that's already prepared, or you have the man that's already, that's on the journey to preparation.
Mm-hmm.
You don't ever in 2019 find a man that don't have nothing to offer.
Correct.
All about their grind, they're about their business. But the missing link and the missing standpoint still comes back down to intimacy. Like, what do you see in me? Like,
correct.
What do I see in you? What can I show you that I can trust that won't be revealed again and used against me? You understand what I'm saying? And I guess the biggest thing was that I've seen, that I've heard just through testimonials, that men and women have a hard time being vulnerable, like you said, because of trust and because of confidentiality, which are two different words.
Correct.
So if you come and tell me, that I need to talk to you about something, and I need to share my failures or something that's keeping me from loving you the way that you feel like you need to be loved, and it's affecting my, purpose and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
the first thing I'm going to wonder is if I'm going to hear it again.
That's the part. Am I going to hear it again? And I'll tell you this, Andy, from Facebook, they're listening to you. And one of the things Callie said, she said, I'm glad that he hit on that, because men be intimidated instead of seeing and acknowledging that real women of purpose is trying to help you, guide you, and mold you into a better man. A man that is looking for his purpose will submit and be vulnerable to a woman that is trying to help mold him. Because this is the beauty about vulnerability. And the reason I love the way God connecting us where we need each other is that it's all about getting down to the most naked version of yourself. And that is the part right there that really, really, really helps. That's going to be what breaks the generational curse off of our lives. The reason the African American community focuses and deals so much with brokenness and so much with us not being able to move forward as a culture is because we're too busy dealing with grandma lies, saying, well, what happened in my house, we don't need to repeat it. Well, go on over here. We don't need to talk about it. And we're still dealing with that slave mentality. And I said it, we're still dealing with that slave mentality where we are more concerned with possessing and looking like money than maintaining and building wealth. And so because of that, we bring that into our children and our children's children. And then we're wondering why our children are not productive. If your seed is not productive, I guarantee you it's because of your brokenness that you refuse to heal from. God will heal your seed when he heals you, but he can't heal your seed and you still walking around broken, because what will happen is you will begin to cut on that seed because you'll be jealous of where they're headed and where they are because you're not there. And so then at that point, it's like it's almost like in seed, when you're planting seed, it goes through a germination process, and in a germination process, the seed has to die. And so what happens if the seed die and don't ever come back up? That's what happens when you sow, when you sow wrong. You see what I'm saying? It's like the epitome of what happens. And so God's not going to just heal half of it. He's going to heal the whole thing. But nothing heals a wound like exposure. And because we don't like to expose wounds, we have spent a lot of years tearing down pawpaw and grandma lies. And that's just the truth.
Because I did that for a while. I made excuses why I could not be vulnerable.
See?
Why? Because I said in my heart that I will not open up myself to anyone who I feel like could do more damage than good.
Correct.
You have to look at this 2019 man from the side of not slavery, because again, I believe the bondage of slavery is a choice to your mentality.
Correct.
I don't know about no acres or no mule. I don't have either, right? But I do know about my purpose and my destiny.
Correct.
And I'm able to create, a future that says this, Lauren, I know who God has made me to be. I know what he's called me to be. I know what I'm looking for. And what people don't realize, and I'll stop here, what people don't realize, purpose and intimacy, they have a sound.
Yes.
You can hear the sound of intimacy when it's ringing from that person's heart, or when it's ringing from their soul, or it's ringing from their ulterior motives. It still has a sound.
Yeah, I agree.
Everything that's connected to God has a sound.
Yeah.
He was looking for Adam. The Bible said that the sound of God came walking through the Eden.
That's it.
Understand? So even when it came to Lucifer, with him understanding that Lucifer had turned his back on him and changed his mind, he didn't know it until he heard it through the angels.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's letting you know that when somebody approaches you, Lauren, or I'm after someone and my motives are not pure, I'm going to hear it in the sound. But you got to be whole, because broken eardrums will fluctuate your sound. You won't be able to hear it clearly. It won't be proper, right? It'll be misconstrued. You'll think it's love, and it's really abuse in germination stage. Because some people are willing and ready, looking to go into relationships under the mask of intimacy, because we're not listening, we're looking. And then when abuse comes out, now we hear the sound with a slap.
Correct.
See what I'm saying? So, thank you for bringing this to light, because again, many men need to know that it's not a failure to submit to a woman. Not only is it biblical, it's wise, because there is nobody who can help protect you more than a woman. Why? Because she understands your yesterday, she has embraced your today, and she's ready to walk the journey of your tomorrow.
That's it.
So,
because she complements your purpose. Well, Andy, thank you so much for joining, and the people on Facebook are going crazy behind you. They're like, Andy, you taking me out. You better say it. Somebody about to follow you right now. So thank you so much. Have a good night. Stay with us. We're not done. I got another guy who's about to take us out, Munson Powell. Okay. Munson, you ready? Did you figure out how to join me? Oh, there you go. Yes, ma'am. Callie. Yes, God said a wise man listens to counsel. Well, you so retarded, Munson. You so retarded. I can't. Yeah, if y'all can, look how Munson is on here clowning. I just want y'all to see his shenanigan ways on Facebook. It's such a shenanigan.
All that. Feel me? Let's get to some things for you. It's good.
Yes. Hey, Nanny. Yeah, I can hear you great, and I'm pretty sure Facebook can hear you too. I don't know why I couldn't get to add you on Facebook. Callie said you have to request. I don't know.
Right, we'll figure that out.
Yeah, we got more times to do some more live, so.
Yes, we do.
So, Munson, I know you about to take us out with some intimacy, baby. You be about to just whip us.
Can you hear me good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So first of all, thank you for allowing me on your live. Let's talk intimacy. Okay. Intimacy, in my opinion, is not sex.
Okay.
Intimacy, like you said, to your point, leads to sex. Okay. But I also want to say that one of the things that intimacy is for a man, intimacy is a learning curve. intimacy is a learning curve for a man.
Intimacy is a learning curve for a man. I'm repeating it for the Facebook followers. I think they trying to hear y'all. Can y'all hear Munson clearly on here on Facebook? Okay, Nandy said turn the volume up. Let's see. Okay, I got my volume turned up. If you want to weigh in on the Instagram, it's Purposeful Woman app on Instagram as well, and you can see Munson live right here with me as well. But he said intimacy is what for a man?
Intimacy is a learning curve.
A learning curve for a man. There we go.
Okay. Because most men were not taught intimacy. We were taught sex. We were taught sex. Get sex, sex, sex. We was taught get her or get in her versus getting to know her.
Okay.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, from a biblical standpoint of view, to any man that's watching or to any king that's listening, this is why it's important for us to learn intimacy, all right? Because intimacy is a connection, all right? Intimacy is a connection. Intimacy ultimately is going to determine whether you stay connected or not.
Okay.
You follow me? You follow me?
Yeah.
Intimacy for us as men requires work. It requires sacrifice. It requires us being educated by the woman, which this is what I want to say to any woman that's watching as well. Let me slow down. There are a multiplicity of women who have the mentality that suggests that they don't want to have to teach a man how to do nothing, right? So then they are suggesting that whatever man comes into their life is perfect. When we know nobody comes into your life perfect.
Correct.
Right? Okay, so now this is what God says to the man. Man, this is for you. God tells us in 1 Peter, he says, likewise, ye husbands, dwelling, living with her according to knowledge. God is saying to us as men, your ability to live with her is based off your knowledge of her. What is knowledge? Knowledge is information. Okay? Now, who better to teach us how to be intimate with you than you? Okay? Because no woman wants to be shared. No woman wants to be compared. You understand?
Correct.
So that means that I come into your life willing, okay? We have to humble ourselves. You understand what I'm saying? But that means as a woman, you have to be willing to teach us. Okay? You have to be willing to take your time to teach us how to kiss you, how to touch you, how to rub you, how to understand you, the proper way to taste you. You understand what I'm saying? Everything that is to be taught, it is for you to teach us. If you do not teach us in the present, we will only participate according to our past. So if you don't want me to treat you like the rest of the whores or the sluts or the nobodies that we just ran through, then take no time to get started. That's going to require you to require us to be intimate with you. But most women let us into you without requiring us to be intimate with you. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Speak to the man. Man, whoever the woman you're with, say her name. Say her name, say her name, say her name, say her name. See what I'm saying? She then becomes your university. She is your university. Your only requirement at this point is to enroll into whoever her name is, university, whereby you come into class and you are to raise your hand and express to the teacher that you do not understand what you're telling me to learn. That's what I used to do. I used to raise my hand, teacher, I don't understand that problem. Because intimacy for man is a problem because we wasn't taught that. Women, you all are the solution to that. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then she becomes your university. You come in, you raise your hand, and that's what you're saying. Teach me. Teach. You're coming to be educated, and you're coming to serve. You give us information, and we give you the application. We apply according to what you teach us. So a man that's willing to learn intimacy, my question is, if he's failing, are you teaching them how to love you? I want you to respond to that because I wanted to get to some more things with you, Queen.
So I absolutely agree with a lot of what you're saying. I do believe that especially our black men, that we don't come prepared. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't it's tough to come prepared on intimacy when you've only seen people hook up. So, you know what I'm saying? Or you've only seen people get together because of provision. You know, you and I were running it earlier and kind of talking, and you know, I shared this, and I talked to my mom about this, and I asked her, I was like, Mom, what? Because I always have to understand the family dynamic, and I said, Mama, what did your dad teach you about love? And she said, or what to expect from love, and she said, well, he told me that he provides, and you know, he provided me and he loved me, right? So my mother married a man that provided. I married a man that provided. Provision just means you don't want the lights to be off. But that don't mean that we are to be connected intimately together. That does not mean that I complement your purpose. That don't mean that we are equally yoked. It just both mean that we can pay the light bill. Okay, that means we're great roommates. And so when you begin to look at, people can try to say all day long, oh, we ain't got no brokenness. My parents did this, that, and the fifth. But let me tell you something. You can always see the breakdown when you look in your seed, because your seed will always be a reflection of what you put into it. So if you try to mask that you had it all going on, your seed gonna tell that you didn't, because they gonna choose like you wanted to. They gonna choose like you wish you would have, and that could sometimes not be a good thing. You see what I'm saying? And so a lot of times we get frustrated with our seed and with our children and why they're choosing the way they're choosing, but they're only choosing by what they were taught. Did you heal? So how did you expect them to go into whole relationships and have productive families when all they saw was you cutting on folk? They ain't say you do no healing. So you couldn't have thought that you was going to reproduce healing just because you masked and lied to yourself about who you were in a relationship that you knew you had no business getting into. That's why it's so important to be whole. See, intimacy starts with self-love and self-care and self-awareness. That's where true intimacy starts with just one person. You, and really well too, you and God. Because he tells you who he is, who you are to him. He tells you what you mean to him. He tells you what to expect from him. But that only comes when you are having an intimate connection with him. If you cannot intimately connect with God, you can never intimately connect with man. Period. And that's one of the things that people don't understand. And they find themselves staying stuck in situations that God requires them to only stand up in. Because like I shared with you earlier, the enemy's plight is to keep you as a grape, because a grape allows you to be eaten by anybody. A grape does not have requirements. A grape don't have stipulations. Anybody can eat a grape. Everybody can eat a grape, but everybody can't drink a wine. And that's the part. The enemy don't want you to become a wine. He don't want you to get to the point where you have gone through a process and now there's requirements on your life, because he wants you without boundaries. Because if you don't have boundaries, you'll let anything go. That's why people who say I'll do anything to keep you, those are some scary folk. That ain't nobody I want to be with. If you're going to do anything to keep me, that means you'll do everything to lose me. You don't know how to keep me if you're going to do anything to keep me, because that also lets me know that you don't know me. Because doing anything means you're trying and erroring. You're trying to learn. You have not mastered me. You don't have a PhD in me. You have some credit hours. You ain't got much more. All you did was have enough to apply to the university and get financial aid, baby. You ain't got no grade. You ain't got no passing grade. And so we see We see that in these relationships, and in this season, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of people staying with people that want to keep them as a grape because they can't afford them as a wine. Elevation requires separation, and understand this: even when you become a wine, that still don't mean that you're gonna still be tasty to everybody, because a red dry wine is one of the most authentic wines that there is. And so a person that is a dry, authentic red wine, the most times, 9.5 times out of 10, I'm gonna give us a half a point. 9.5 times out of 10, the first time you taste me, you won't like me. See, that's where I'm at. That's why I can't be acquired by everybody, because the first time you taste me, you're not going to like me, because I am for the matured palate, and a mature palate is somebody that continuously comes back and retastes me every time again, retastes me to the point the only thing they can desire is an authentic red wine. The taste of sugary wine, it dispels in your mouth. You're like, oh, that's too sweet. I don't want that. See, until you get to that point, for me, you can't possess the eagle. And so that's where people are. That's the issue between where people are dying to where people fight with struggling to remain something that they're dying to become. See, you can't struggle to remain and die to become at the same time. You have to make a choice. And so it's important that the people that are around you, especially that intimate circle, the one that you are sharing the vulnerability with and the intimacy with, that's why it's so important to be in fertile ground and to be with somebody that intimately knows you and who sees you in your finish and not in your present. Because sometimes people will only keep you at the level that they can handle you, because the truth is they are leeches. They are only leashed on to your greatness. Most anointed people do not know that they are anointed because they're covered in leeches. A leech know you anointed. That's why it's sucking on you. You ain't never seen a leech suck on a dead body because it ain't got no active blood, but a leech will suck on a live body because it wants to be attached to something that's got something that's going to fulfill them. And so they'll leech on to you. They'll kill your purpose. They won't allow you to ever become they'll keep you at optimal level instead of keeping you at premier level. God wants us premier, but we settle for optimal. And so the issue is a lot of times is what's around us and what's surrounding us in our intimacy, in our intimate circle. And when people break down intimacy is into me. See? Into me. See? So if you can't see into me, you don't even know what you're getting. You can't even enjoy the fruit of who I am because you're not even into me. See, you are trying to slide into me, but as quickly as you slide in, you slide out.
Yeah, but listen, without a vision, the people perish.
And that's the part.
Because they don't have no vision for themselves, how can they have a vision for you?
They can't.
Okay, so then, to your point, to what you were saying is, first, when parents do that, you produce dysfunction.
Correct.
You understand what I'm saying? Intimacy, like you say, you what you're not gonna do is minimize my maximum.
Come on. That's what you're not gonna do. Because I'm not trying to have bird talk.
Some people only want you in tree form, but they don't want you in seed form.
Ooh.
Because to take me as a seed, that means you got to take me, carefully plant me in the right soil, right atmosphere. You have to water me. And all of that requires is work. Intimacy. To your point again, intimacy starts with the individual. It will always start with you. It will always begin with you. And it doesn't matter how many mistakes we made and how many times we get it wrong. This is our opportunity to get it right.
Correct.
To the point to what your friend was saying about generational curses, I believe education helps us stop generational curses.
Yes.
Education, when we are properly educated, and in this sense, on intimacy.
Yes.
To stop going in the circles, as you said earlier, to stop casting our pearls to swine. You understand what I'm saying? Intimacy has to become the requirement.
Correct.
It has to be quantum requirement. But again, to the men, I want to say, when it comes to intimacy, just show up, ask her to teach you, be willing to learn, and be willing to apply what you're taught. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because what she's in essence doing is giving you the keys to make her feel safe, make her feel secure, make her feel comfortable. You see what I'm saying? It gives you an insight. But for the men, one of the reasons we fear intimacy, not because we were not only not taught it, but intimacy for us as men makes us vulnerable.
Yes,
intimacy
come on.
For us men, talking to the men, intimacy requires us as men to give ourselves. See, when God was speaking, he told the men to love your wife like Christ loved the church. Watch this, kings. And he gave himself. The problem with most of us men is we want to give money. But just because you give money, that don't mean you're giving yourself. Because some men have the mentality that it ain't tricking if you got it. You will waste money, but you will not waste your time, and you will not waste your heart, because that's your treasure. And the word of God tells us where your treasure is, that's where your heart is
that's
also.
It.
So put your heart in it versus putting your money in it. You understand what I'm saying? But for the woman, most of us men don't understand, because we were quick to say to her, well, I did this for you, and I did this for you, and I got this for you. Yes, you got her that, but you didn't get into her.
You possessed her.
A whole bunch of Louis bags.
You possessed her.
You got Louis and Prada.
Yes, sir.
Chanel number 9 and the whole 9. But you're not giving her you. And to the women, I would say, create a safe haven, create a safe atmosphere, create a safe place for us to be vulnerable with you. And to the man, I'm telling you, you have to accept the challenge to open up and let the right woman in. What is the right woman? In my opinion, a purposeful woman. Because a purposeful woman is a woman that will do you good all the days of your life and no evil.
Come on.
A purposeful woman is a woman that's going to pray with you, motivate you, encourage you. A purposeful woman is a woman that's going to hold you responsible and accountable. A purposeful woman is a woman that's going to mandate that you grow up to be a man and put away childish things. When I was a child, I understood as a child. I spoke as a child.
Come on.
But when I became a man, I put away childish things. And if you're really about that life, the right woman will help you become a better man. I'm talking about the right woman. I ain't talking about, because a lot of women got container, but they ain't got content. Which produces a lot of nonsense. You understand what I'm saying?
Sir.
Because you make, and listen, you may be able to make her calm, but is she willing to calm? You feel what I'm saying?
Yes.
You feel what I'm saying? A woman that's willing to follow. See, we just talking about requirements. We talking about intimacy. We ain't talking about sex. We ain't talking about busting a nut. We ain't talking about wham bam, thank you, ma'am.
Come on.
About how you feeling? How you doing? What's on your mind? What you need from me? Am I pleasing you?
Yes.
Is there anything that I can do better?
Let me hear your heart.
Men submitting to women. There is this belief that men are not supposed to submit to women. But men, according to the word of God, we're supposed to submit to one another. You understand what I'm saying? Submission does not make a woman weak.
No,
Submission does not make a man weak. But whenever there's arrogance, whenever there's a lack of submission, whenever there's not following the blueprint, we got a multiplicity of problems.
That's it. And then we get to Thanksgiving and everybody bitter at the table. And all we doing is talking about so-and-so and everybody bitter and everybody angry and everybody mad and somebody don't want to eat your potato salad. And so you see these memes going around where people talking about don't go hang around your family if all they is bitter and angry. What? They bitter and angry because ain't nobody home. Ain't nobody home. They thirsty. Are you thirsty or are you thirsty?
Like we got it together.
Correct.
Like the Lord is blessing. Like the Lord is moving. We have, because there has, speak to this, Queen, because there has been a lack of intimacy.
Come on.
There's been an increase in image.
Come on.
We chose image over intimacy. Speak to that.
Look, I'll tell you, I'll say this, and this is one of my very favorite, I think one of my famous quotes, because I speak a lot to women and really helping us become who we need to be, to our kings. To the right man, I'm soil, But to the wrong man, I'm quicksand. And that is understanding what you carry. To the right man, I'm soil. But to the wrong man, I'm quicksand. That means to the right man, he gonna instantly grow. It's gonna be exponential growth. A man that findeth a wife findeth a good thing and finds favor with the Lord because he is properly aligned. Because God is a God of order. That's why he is a God of numbers. That's why he is a God of time. Because he is a God of order. And so when you properly align yourself, when the right seed hit the right soil, it ain't got no other choice but to grow to higher heights. But when you put the wrong seed in the wrong soil, it dies like quicksand. And see, the thing about quicksand is that you never really see it coming. That's why people quickly die in it. They walk up on it. They fall off in it because they don't see it coming. They don't see it coming. And so for women, it is important to know what we carry so we can properly carry the seed that's going to germinate and reproduce in our culture. That's the thing. That's what we fail to realize. Women spend so much time trying to get a man and be with a man that we ain't even prepared for the man. Go prepare for the man. You
say about the house and property taxes. What is that analogy?
Oh, yeah. You know, the issue is we've been taught how to possess, but not to maintain. I can buy a house, but if I don't pay the taxes, I'll still lose it. And that's the issue with women and men, especially black people. Period, point blank. We know how to get the bag, but we can't maintain it. We'll drive a Range Rover, but won't change the oil. It'll be on the side of the road in a week. Don't know how to maintain it. It don't matter that it's $100,000 car. If you don't get the oil changed, you don't get them tires rotated, and you don't get that car service, you will be on the side of the road within a week. Guarantee it. You don't think about it, go do it. I've seen a lot of foreign cars on the side of the road because they ain't properly maintained. How you didn't know you needed to get your battery changed? Oh, because you're not up on your maintenance. And see, that's what intimacy is about, being up on your maintenance. And that's the issue. It's a maintenance issue. We gonna buy the car. We got the $500 for the month. That's our issue. We wanna. Oh God, we wanna buy Teslas, but we can't afford the upkeep on it. See that's the issue with you not knowing your purpose. When you get out there and you get above your pay grade because you're not ready. But see, when you are dealing with somebody that knows their purpose and that is purposely aligned, so that's why some men, you hear people say it's about alpha females. Let me tell you something. An alpha female will hold you down when you ain't got nothing. No, the worst thing a man can do is connect himself to a weak woman. Because let me tell you one thing about weak. Weak at some point goes out. Weak at some point goes out. It's just like this cell phone. When it gets to 20%, guess what? We're going out, baby. You ain't staying strong. It ain't gonna hold you over. Now you gotta go over there and hurry up and get to a charger real quick. You understand me? Ain't nothing. The worst thing a man can do is tie himself to a weak woman because she will quickly go out. And that's and that is the word of the Lord. Okay?
That type of woman there is who's going to hold a man accountable. That
Correct.
Type of woman there is the type of woman that say, if you want respect, you're going to have to give it. You ain't finna run over me.
And you're not about to demand my time. You're going to ask for it.
Come on. Yeah.
You ain't gonna say I want to see you. You gonna make plans to. See, boys are demanding time while men are asking for the opportunity, because a man that finds a wife finds a good thing and finds favor with the Lord.
And intimacy provokes initiation, and it eliminates excuses. If it means something to a man gonna make time. If he don't, he gonna make excuses.
It goes back to what I said on Sunday on our radio show. A person that values you will pay for you. People that value you will pay for your time. Period. If you're an entrepreneur, you know what that means. People that truly value you will pay for your time, because guess what? It's a requirement.
And so this needs to be the payment. Respect. Character. How you talk to me. How you adapt and adjust to me.
Come on.
How you willing to learn me.
Come on.
That's payment.
And I want to dispel the myths for the men that think that not cheating on you, paying the bills, and coming home at night is a freaking like you need a cookie. No, baby, that's you showed up on work on time. Okay, that don't mean that you intimately know me. That means you don't want your lights off. That means you don't want to be sleeping on the street, and that means you don't want me to slap one of them tricks you talking to. That does not mean that you intimately want to know me. And that's what we got it messed up with this whole cultural thing. We went from being slaves to having to fend for our lives to having to provide for our families. So we thought provision was love. Provision ain't love. Sacrifice is. What did God do? He sacrificed his only begotten son to save us. Sacrifice is love, baby. Not you going to work every day. No, you just don't want to be on the street or living in the poorhouse.
Well, the Bible tells us as men to love our wives as ourselves.
Come on.
So generally, the way a man gonna treat a woman is how he treat himself. If a man love himself and take care of himself and value himself, generally he gonna treat you that way.
Correct.
And then if you don't, then he not gonna treat you that way. But to this, I'll say, spend time with God. Wisdom is the principal thing.
Yes.
Therefore, get wisdom. But in all you're getting, get an understanding. Not just of the other person, but of yourself. There's something about spending time with God that lets you know that educates you not on who He is, but on who you are and who you will become.
Correct.
There's something about destiny. That destiny causes divine connections and disconnections. Purpose is key. Purpose is key. Spending time with God is key. And getting to know the you that you want somebody to fall in love with is very, very important. You understand what I'm saying?
Correct.
So before we require another person to be intimate with us, let us be intimate with ourselves. Let us get to know us. Let us get to know who we are. Because when you have a good idea, when you have a good perception on who you are, you know who your equal is. But when you don't know who you are, you'll choose any orangutan out the jungle.
And guess what? They all trying to get chose. And that's the part. And they all trying to get chose. Baby, I will tell them in a minute. You can't take an animal from the wild and expect them to live a civilized life. They gonna always go back to that default setting. And see, that's why it's so important in intimacy to know what was a person what was a person doing to be prepared for you. See, I'm over people that's trying. Like, try not to call me if you in your trying season. I don't want to hear that. Because trying is an excuse for you to remain who you can't stay. Trying isn't, let me help you out. Trying is an excuse for you to remain somebody that you cannot stay. So don't call me if you in your trying season, okay? Call me when you become. That's it. Other part to that carry out is, good night, Nanny. The other part to that carry out is this. What a person is doing to prepare for you tells you everything about what they're going to do to be with you. If a person is a thought when you got them, or if they was in a relationship when you got them, if they had about 5 of them going, guess what, baby? Just because they got with you, not gonna stop their eyes from wandering, because they have not thought enough of themselves to create a boundary in a season when you weren't there. Nothing shows you how much someone will value you until you see it when nobody's looking.
Come on.
And so what a person is doing in that season, that when they don't have somebody, when they ain't posting WCWs and all this other stuff all day long, what a person is doing when they are just alone tells you what they are prepared for. Okay, so like I shared with you, I've gone through, and I'm not ashamed to say this, I'm in a season of celibacy and have been for almost a year. And the reason that I decided to do that was because I needed to hear God very clearly about where we were going. And because my purpose was so important to me, I don't have time for counterfeits and setups and shenanigans. So I need to have my discernment at its highest peak. And I don't need to have the distraction as the attraction. So because of that, I decided, okay, God, it's just me and you in this season. What you doing? What's up? I'm hearing and listening. I'm in the closet literally speaking and talking to God on a daily basis about who he is calling and designing me to be for my purpose mate. Not because I'm in desperate need of a man, but I'm in desperate need of reproduction for the glory of God. So understanding that, what am I doing in my preparation tells you everything that I'm prepared to do when God gives me that thing that I've been waiting and asking him for. God is not going to bless you with his best when you still dealing with mess. He's not going to give you a for sure answer when you are still unsure about who he's called you to be. And so it's so important, even for women and for men, that if you are serious about living a purposeful life and living a fulfilled life. And when I say fulfilled, I mean a pork roast and a slow cooker gonna keep you full longer than McDonald's Happy Meal. Just so you know. So if you want to be hungry within an hour, then stop over there by Popeyes and them and get that chicken sandwich. You'll be hungry in an hour. You'll be back wasting your money again and wasting your time and trying to figure out, why you ain't got more money. But it's all because you weren't prepared. Some of us aren't prepared for what we're asking God for. And so that's been my plight on this in this season that I sit in with vulnerability and with transparency and with intimacy, is being intentional about who I connect myself with. And so with that, it has cleared my mind so much. And it made me start paying attention to what is a man doing in his preparation season. And a person that says, I don't know, and they trying, they not doing neither one. They've already made a decision. They like being stuck. They don't want to stick. They like being stuck. See, the beauty of being stuck is meaning you can be removed and put on something else. But when you stuck, you can't be moved at all. And so that's the key element there is the intimacy piece of it. And us really, really, really paying attention to what are people pulling out of us when they attach themselves to us. Because if I'm not pulling out, if me being attached to you don't pull out your greatness, then what I'm doing? Why are we together? Because you fine? Exactly. Everybody fine.
Exactly.
The finest thing is a whole man and a whole woman.
I come to motivate. I come to encourage.
Come on. Yes.
To push you to be better. I ain't come to play with you. I came to pray with you. I came to push you. You understand what I'm saying? We have to be, as you said, to your point, we have to be intentional about our connections. Who sent you?
Who?
What are you here for?
Come on.
What did you see?
Come on.
What do you see out of this? You don't see nothing, you can't get nothing. You see what I'm saying? So this, and the reason I feel like this conversation is so important, because at one time, this is what it was all about, conversing about. At some point, sex became the main thing. And it became not popular to talk about God and keep yourself and talk all that serious stuff. And consequently, a multiplicity of women gave up on their standards, thinking that if they do it the hip hop way or the new way, that it will get them to get a man. When that has not worked at all.
But it has worked. You get him, you just can't maintain him.
To your point,
you get him, you just can't maintain him. So then you back out looking for another one, single again.
If you want something serious, now if you don't want nothing serious, then by all means understand. But if you want something serious, if you want that meal cooked right, you want that thing well done, you're going to have to slow cook it. Like you were saying earlier, you're not going to microwave this situation. Okay? You're going to slow cook it. You feel what I'm saying? And that's what intimacy requires. So intimacy eliminates the excuses. Intimacy is the requirement before I allow you to enter into me.
Come on.
And even if you've already made that mistake, listen, we got it wrong, but we're going to get it right. And if you're not willing to get it right with me, that just means you're the wrong person, and I'll move on. I'd rather be lonely. I'd rather squeeze a pillow or do whatever that I got to do to process those urges But we have to get to a point where we get sick and tired of functioning and dysfunction just to say that we got something.
Come on.
We got to understand that if you're not bringing harmony, you're not bringing peace, you're not bringing balance, if you're paying my bills but beating me, not respecting me, putting me in harm's way, it ain't worth it.
Nope.
I need real intimacy over image. I don't want to look the part. I want to be the part. And if you walking in purpose, then that would let me know whether you're the part or not. So are you with God or you with Jesus? Or you got business? Who your friends? What they about? You about praying? What you about?
Come on.
I gotta go. I just ain't got time for that no more.
That's the whole part. Like, to me, the sexiest thing a man can do is pray over the table. Your body could be the best it's ever been, but you want to see me pass out? Bless that table. You bless that table. I'ma be on the ground. I'm trying to work. I'm trying to be like Ruth was to Boaz. Just sitting at your feet, trying to hear your heart. Can I hear your heart? You know, the myth is that alpha women don't want to submit. That's a flat out lie. The biggest desire of an alpha woman is to find a man that she can trust with her pearls. That's the biggest. That is if you ask every alpha woman what is her biggest desire, is to be in a relationship where she can trust a man enough to cast her pearls.
Well, let me ask you this, Lauren. Let me ask you this. For the man that's watching or listening, what does intimacy do for a woman? What does intimacy say to a woman?
Intimacy says to a woman that it provides us with security. Then it also provides us with trust. And a lot of us have dealt with trust issues in our relationships, whether it be with parents, whether it be, being, marriages, divorces, what have you. So it creates an environment of trust, which takes away the boundary of aggression. And then it also says to a woman that she's wanted. We are no different from everyone else. We want to be wanted. We want to be loved. We want to be cared about. We want to be considered. And so that's what intimacy does. A woman that is appreciated by her man will do way more than a woman that is taken advantage of. They may do some things, but they ain't going to go all the way because they tired. But they tired. But they tired of trying to earn your respect and your love that should be freely given, because you're supposed to be loving me like Christ loved the church. That should be freely given. So, but intimacy for a woman, if you want to really be able to enjoy the fruit of connection, which is God's design for every single thing that he's ever made, from a light switch to a light bulb. A light bulb don't light up unless you connect it into something, and that connection don't light up unless you paid the bill. Everything about connection is God. You know what I'm saying? A candle don't smell good unless you light it. A doorknob don't open. The door don't open unless you turn the doorknob. Everything about God is connection, down to the simplest things. You know what I'm saying? And so you really never enjoy the premium level, if we say, of God's original design for us if you're constantly shooting low. And I tell people all the time, you are more than what you settled for. And a lot of us settle for, and because we settle for, we never get to that level. And so then we begin to dispel myths that it's never gonna happen and that this ain't real. And then we start questioning God and questioning do they have good men out there and all this kind of stuff, because now we've become fearful because it's not happening. You see what I'm saying? But it's not happening because we're not properly aligned. And so that's what intimacy for a woman really, really does. A woman becomes the greatest version of herself when she's loved intimately. If you want to get the sweetness of a woman, if you think her coming is sweet, baby, get intimate with her. Because the best sex you will ever have is one that was started with intimacy. On God. On God. You want to be out here by the bushes, outside, baby. You ain't gotta go, baby. You don't, baby. I'm talking about. She can't even take her lunch break because you already at the door, baby. I felt your spirit. I knew you was hungry. Baby, intimacy had you like, baby, I just was driving down the road and I felt God tell me that your stomach was growling. I'm just going to come up there. If you ever want to experience the absolute best level of God, be intimate with somebody first. Don't have sex with them. Nah, that's not even fun. Intimacy will have you walking when you should have been driving. Usually, God, I'm going to get some cardio. I just thought, keep my heart rate up and healthy. That's what that intimacy had you walking, baby. You got a whole car. You gonna walk next to the car.
So to the man, I would say, Kings, intimacy is continuing to do everything that it took to get her.
Yes.
All those sexes, all that time, all those words, all those flowers, all that going to church with her, all that.
Praying with her. Can you pray with her? Can men pray? Am I the only person that's like all excited about prayer?
Making love to her mind.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So
yes. Well,
the south side of you know.
Yes. Well, look, I'm going to let you go. We have had an amazing conversation, and this live is going to be saved, and we're not going to stop talking about this. I think the conversation's got people popping, and they want to talk about intimacy, and they want to know this love that God has for us. And they want to feel it, and they want to hear it from people that truly love God, and people that are truly called to his purpose, and people that are truly not afraid to say the unadulterated truth. And really give people real truth and real knowledge and real help. And so we're going to continue the conversation. If you have not been reading Intimacy, I don't know what the heck you've been reading, but you better go over to purposefulwomanapp.com, purposefulwomanapp.com, click the Journey of Purposeful Pain, and there you will find all 4 weeks of intimacy. If you follow my blog or my app, every single week, as speaking to what Munson said about hearing a woman, it's one of the reasons that I created the podcast. And so I actually read intimacy to you. And so hearing it from my voice and hearing it from my emotions and evoking my feelings, it's a different kind of read than you reading it yourself. So if you've not heard me read it, week 1 and week 2 is out. Week 3 will be out as well. So please check out my Podbean. It's podbean.com. Purposeful Woman is on there, and my podcast for intimacy is on there, where I actually read intimacy to you guys. So I am just super excited about all the love, comments that we've been receiving and feedback. And I can't wait for next week. I think we're going to talk about this on, in the next couple of weeks again, and really continue the conversation and continue to dispel the myths and continue to save our culture, and really, really, really make you guys excited about going to see your family for Thanksgiving, and really get excited about being in healthy relationships and healthy marriages on purpose. So share my live, tell somebody to go watch it. I'm going to save it on Instagram and Facebook so you guys can tune in and catch up on what you've missed. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. And Munson, thank you for blessing our spirits and taking us out tonight. We appreciate you. So we're going to have a good night. Bye.